Hi, everyone. Welcome back to She Holds Her Keys. Today, I have a very special guest called Marina. She's here with us. She's an amazing person. She's part of the community that we are a part of with Being Humble. And today, we're going to talk about her story. We're going to be transparent and just show you things can be done. Hi, Marina. It's so great to have you here. How are you doing today?
Hi, Rianka. Thank you so much for the invitation. I am very happy to be here, and I hope that my story will inspire. If it inspires even one person, that's already a great outcome. So, yeah, thank you again for the invitation.
No worries. I appreciate all your support and you being here. And I think your story can really help so many people out there wanting to start a business, but they're too afraid. So, where we're going to start is you guys are also immigrants. So, just tell us a little bit about where you guys are originally from, when you moved to Canada, and why you chose Canada as well.
Yeah, so we are originally from Moldova. This is a country between Ukraine and Romania. So I am Ben's neighbor, actually. We
Yes.
speak the same language. And Moldova is a poor country. A lot of people go to different other countries to make money. Like they don't move completely, but they just make one person from family go somewhere like in Spain, Italy, or other countries in Europe, a lot of people, and they make money to send back to their families. So when I was a teenager, my mom actually went to Spain like this, and I was 15 years old, and it was pretty normal for every single family. Like all my neighbors, or somebody was gone, either mom or dad, and it was something normal. Like you wouldn't think that something is off. Actually, it shouldn't happen like this. One of
Mhm.
very important, like parents would just go kind of abandon their children. It's not abandons, but this is the way it is. And my mom was a nurse, so it's not like she had a profession, she could make money. But again, the country was poor, the money were not paid. So when I got married, we actually also wanted to, like, one of us to live somewhere, like my husband. But then I realized I don't want the life like this for one parent to be gone and another parent being with a child. It was
Mhm.
something like I knew how it was on my own experience. So my mom was gone for 7 years, actually. She would come once a year for a month just for like
Mhm.
vacation or like, and then she would be gone again. And there were so many children who like their parents just left when they were like 2 years old, 5 years old. Like literally children would be growing by themselves with grandparents. So again, like that's why we didn't want like that for our family. So we were trying to find, okay, if we cannot live here together, then we need to find a country where we can move together, not just to go for money, but to move and be together.
Mhm.
So then we needed a country to immigrate, actually, not just to come here for like work permit or something. And that's how we ended up in Canada, because Canada had immigration programs. And back then, only 3 countries in the world had these programs: New Zealand, Canada, and Australia. So we chose Canada just because it was closer than New Zealand and less alligators than Australia.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. No, I agree. And when did you move here?
It was 10 years ago in 2016. Yeah.
10
So we
years ago.
all the process we were
Mm-hmm.
Canada. So when we moved in Canada, we already had permanent residence. We moved already with documents. I'm not sure like how now is going, like because it's different.
Mm-hmm.
Some people move here on study permit or like work permit, and then they do documents here, like finalize their documents. So we finalized it back there and moved
Okay.
to Canada already having documents, and we moved directly in a small town called Morden in Manitoba,
Mm-hmm.
because Morden had its own program. So we were chosen. They usually choose about 50 families per year. So we were chosen by the city. The city promoted us to the province, and the province then gave us the documents.
Okay. Well, that helps a lot because I know in our case as well. So we moved here in 2019, and we came over on a work permit, Heinrich. So we had to do a bunch of paperwork back home. But while we were here, we still needed to do a bunch of paperwork, get our permanent residence, and then we became citizens in 2024. So
Mm-hmm.
we are now dual citizens as well, South Africa and Canada. But yes, a bunch of paperwork. So that's amazing, taking that step. It's not easy because, as you know, your country, you still have your roots there. You have your culture, you have family, and all of those things. But I think what you've built here in Canada, Marina, has been amazing. You have a community of your own, people that are like you, that talk your language and everything. So, what made you decide? Did you come over with that vision? Or was it something you decided when you came into Canada that this is what you want to pursue?
So I need to always, again, to step back one more step back.
Perfect.
Before coming to Canada, we first went to Russia to make money because my husband had his brothers there. They were one of
Hmm.
was for many years already there. So we thought, like, it's just we speak the same language and it's much closer to our country. It's just 2 hours flight. So we went to Russia and we lived there actually for 4 years on work permits. But
Okay.
I never felt there to be on the same level as people from that country. Like I felt always as an immigrant, and we couldn't make documents. Like we had, like there you pay for work permit every year, and every
Hmm.
year it got more expensive, more expensive. I had to work 2 jobs. Then we actually built our house there, like in a small town, and you could not even get the address in your own house because you're not a citizen, a Russian citizen. You cannot buy a car on your name because you're not a Russian citizen. So like always we
Right.
had those milestones which you
Hmm.
cannot just transport through them, or like break
Yes.
them or something like that. So that's why we decided, okay, that's why we need to go somewhere else where we can go and be actually equal to people who live in that country.
Hmm.
So when I came to Canada at the beginning, I remember like coming from the airport. I'm actually right now I'm in the process of writing my own book, my first one.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. So, it would be a little bit of my personal story plus some financial literacy. So
Okay.
I remember these first words from people who actually came to pick up us from airport, and they said, "Well, you know what? You will never be like Canadian, even though you can receive a citizenship or something like that. We immigrants, we have to start from scratch. We have to, like go from zero,
Yes.
and we never achieve something." And I didn't want to believe in those words. I was like,
Hmm.
I lived 4 years in a different country. I left my own country even earlier. I left it at 24 years old. So I lived, or even earlier, I lived then in a different country. I always felt that I don't belong. I want to belong. I want to achieve something here. I want to not just be average person and start from zero. I mean, yes, we start from zero anyway, but I don't want
Hmm.
to remain on zero, right? So
Yes.
at the beginning, I kind of little bit believed in this because again, like language is not perfect, and especially like at the beginning when you just arrive. So I just went to start working at the gas station, actually my first job, and in two
Okay.
weeks, when my employer said like, you know what, you have to come to work at 5 a.m. And I'm like, yeah, but we spoke about this. My husband works from 7 a.m. and I cannot work from 5 because I have a son. He's 8 years old and I cannot leave him alone at home. I have to get him to school. And we agreed about this. And he's like,
Hmm.
I just fired. I won't pay you anything. And I'm like, you know what? I will go by myself and I will find something better. And I found a better job.
Hmm.
I found right next day, actually, I found a job at the pharmacy, and I worked there for one
Okay.
year. And then all of a sudden, I realized like I don't do anything important. I just sell, like I was just the customer service at the pharmacy. So I didn't like it, and I felt like I want to do something more important. So I found a job at a company called Regional Connections Immigrant Services, and I started to
Hmm.
help immigrants to settle in Canada.
Okay.
So that's how it all started. During that time, I worked as a settlement worker in schools, worked mostly with kids, actually, tried to help kids to settle. because there is a lot of hope and help for adults, actually, like free English classes, a lot of stuff with documents. Like there are companies which help adults, but nobody
Mm-hmm.
actually thought about children, and children struggle
Yes.
and sometimes even much more, because parents, they have dad and mom, but children, they don't have anyone. They just yeah, especially when is a family with one child. So when dad
Mm-hmm.
feels something, he can speak with mom, but the child is on their own, and everybody thinks the child is fine, but it's not. So I
Yes.
worked there for more than a year. So that's how I started to help immigrants. And while working there, I saw how other people work, and that immigrants are kind of helped, but actually not, because it's completely different here than from like than in countries where we are coming from. And I
Mm-hmm.
realized that this bias, which I heard in the first day when I came here, that as an immigrant you are zero and you probably will remain zero. I realized that this bias was even between Canadians sometimes too. And I'm like, well, how then you can help an immigrant if you don't believe in what you're doing? So if
Yes.
you still believe that an immigrant has to start from a low paid job, if you believe that immigrant doesn't deserve to go to a higher paid job. So I started my own company, and full company name is Zmeu Solutions Career Education, where I started to educate people how to actually find a better paid job and not just a survival one. So that's how I
Mm-hmm.
started my own journey helping immigrants. And while I was helping people, there were people who started to work at Microsoft, at
That's
Lego,
amazing.
at Kodak, at like big companies.
Mm-hmm.
And then I still had people like, okay, a lot of people had this, okay, I'm now being paid very well, but I don't give a shit how I buy my first house, or like what I do next,
Yes.
like how do I do with my finances later on. So I
Mm-hmm.
expanded, because people were at that time I was already running my Instagram page. I was just running it because I just wanted to share my journey, how we immigrated, to help other immigrants to immigrate to Canada. So I just shared that my journey, and people started to ask like other things, like, okay, I can see that you bought your first house, or like, okay, Marina, how did you do this? Like, how did you even come up with the money for your first house? Like, okay, what about taxes? People started to
Mm-hmm.
ask, and that's how I expanded. So that's how I built my community. I have now 47,000 people on my Instagram page, and I taught personally, as of today, actually, already 3,100 people. Yeah.
That is crazy. That's amazing. And like I say, you had the right mindset because, yes, people, when other people come to another country, into someone else's territory, they tend to say things that hurt people. So, some of them who are born here do not realize that we had to sacrifice so much and move to a country for better opportunities. And we are still sacrificing till this day things we give up. If our country was amazing and there were opportunities and things like that, why would we move?
Yeah.
But like for us, before we didn't have kids when we moved here, so all of them are Canadian. But me and Heinrich also said we want to have a better future for our children. And I've noticed a lot of immigrants are always smiling and positive and happy. And we just want to do better in life because I think where we come from, we're used to working very hard to get where we need to be. So we're not afraid to work. So it's amazing that you have built this community and, your main focus now is financial literacy and you are also in real estate. But as I understand, real estate came a bit later because I know you're part of Ben's group as well. That's how we met, which is a blessing. But how many properties do you have now? And I know that you're attracting more people, not only for financial literacy, but for the real estate as well. So can you tell us a bit more about that?
Let's start from real estate. I was married when I was 18 years old. I'm a very early bird married person. And the first thing we actually bought, I remember my husband used to say, people, after they get married, they go to honeymoon or something like that. And in Moldova, when we have weddings,
Mm-hmm.
like people tend to give money like as a gift. So we ended up, after our wedding, we ended up with $9,000 euros at that time. Yeah, euros.
Okay.
And instead of going for honeymoon, we bought our first room. It wasn't a house, it wasn't an apartment. It was like, it's not even bachelor. It was a room in a big apartment. We had a kitchen divided for like 8 families, I believe. And each family had
Okay.
a toilet divided for 2 families. So like a
Okay.
washroom. Yeah. So we bought that kind of style living. This was first journey towards our real estate.
Mm-hmm.
And for us, it was important to have just roof over our head. Then
Yes.
we sold it when we had our son, because that room was like 9 meters. So I don't know, like
Oh, so
100
small.
square feet, like really small. And we had
Yes.
everything there. There was our washing machine, there was our table, our bedroom, our everything, you
Yes.
know. So we sold when Sava was born. Now, when my son Sava, he's 18 years old now. So when he was born, we sold that room in about a year and we bought a bigger one. Then we
Mm-hmm.
sold that one and we bought an apartment with 3 bedrooms. Can you imagine? Like from room to 3 bedrooms, I felt like I was a queen of real estate or something.
Yes, definitely.
So when we moved to Russia, and there we didn't like this feeling to pay for rent, to rent and pay someone to pay money. So we
Yes.
built our own triangle house, like Canadian
Mm-hmm.
style, like the from the same structure as in Canada.
Yes, yes.
Because in Moldova they build like concrete and stuff, So
And bricks and
yeah,
everything.
bricks and stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
So we build the same as in Canada. We build it on our own, me and my husband, in three
All
months.
on your own.
On our own. Yeah, completely.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
So you kind of understand from why I had to step back, because we kind of were all our life in real estate doing something. So when we came in Canada, we felt unsafe and unsecure by paying rent, because
Mm-hmm.
we just got this feeling that you have to have like roof on top of your head because it's just safe. That's it. So we bought our first house here in actually like 6 months after moving to Canada. We wanted to build, and because we were living in a small community, houses there are not expensive, so you could actually afford just working on a basic job. Everyone could basically afford to buy a house.
Mm-hmm.
And so while the house was build it, we still gathered money for our down payment. We literally slept first year on the mattresses. We didn't have any furniture, just to gather those money for the down payment. That's how we bought our
Yes.
first house. And then my husband started to talk more about real estate, like let's buy and flip or something like that. But I was too afraid. Again, new country, and you kind of zero here. And, still you don't want to believe in those things, but they sometimes catch you. But then
Yes.
when I was working at the pharmacy and I was still it was a still low paid wage. Like
Mm-hmm.
remember like 11.65 per hour. And I had my
Okay.
colleague who had a second house, and she was renting her rooms, like each room separately. I was like, oh my gosh, she's a simple person like me. She works for the same wage and she has her house and then she has another one.
How's
Okay.
she
How
doing
strange.
it?
How is she
Yes.
doing? Yeah. How strange at the beginning. Yeah. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I asked who was her husband. Her husband was like also like a simple job, nothing fancy, not like a doctor or lawyer or something. So just simple people like me and my husband. Okay, then I met another person who also had a house, and the same thing, like, oh my gosh, what is this? Then it started to come to me like, why people even do this? Okay, probably there is something there. Probably, like another income or something like this. Or like, okay, I started to think about pension and started to think, okay, we are in our 30s and we don't have that much time to build our pension. I started to
Yes.
realize that people actually on pension, some of them struggle. So why
Oh,
then
yes.
we came to Canada? Okay, we will work hard now and then to struggle during pension. I don't want that.
No one. No one.
Yeah, so that's how we were like, okay, we need to buy a second house. And then when we bought our second house, we divided it in two. We lived on upper floor and rented
Mhm.
the other one. And that's how
Okay.
it was in 2020. So that's how we ended up in real estate already as an investment and not only a roof above your head. So
Okay.
then, so it was 2020. It was in BC. We moved to BC.
Okay.
Yeah. So then when we rented out basement first and lived on upper floor. Oh, and then there was like something, I don't remember, pipeline was building there or something like that. And there were
Mm-hmm.
people coming and wanted to rent like for much more money. And we're like, we probably need to buy another house, like instead of just having this mortgage helper, we need another one. But we couldn't
Yes.
afford it in BC. So we returned back to Manitoba and bought in
Mm-hmm.
2024, I believe, 2 houses in Manitoba. So we had already a
Okay.
house in BC, a duplex in BC, a duplex in Manitoba, and we bought a house for ourselves. And then after I joined last January, we bought a house in Truro in Nova Scotia. Yeah, like all over.
That's fine. You want to expand.
Yeah, yeah. So we bought a triplex, and then I got to Ben's community, and then we bought 3 more houses, I believe, or two more houses. Yeah, we bought this January and February. We bought 2 more houses. So now we have 6 houses, 9 units rented, and the plan is to expand again.
Oh.
In 2020, I started. How I ended up teaching financial literacy before real estate, because I was teaching people how to actually just find job, right?
Yes.
So I
Yes.
became a professional career coach, and I started to teach people how to find job. And at pretty much the same time, my husband started his company, transport company, and we were making all the mistakes in the world, paying a lot of taxes. We didn't know at what point to register company, at what point to register GST, what in the world is that word even meaning, like we didn't know anything. So we made all the mistakes. And I started to dig in that. And I became a financial advisor at that time in 2020, first for myself, but then I started to just share with people for free. And then people were
Yeah.
like, why do you share it for free? I want to pay for it. So then
There's an
it's
idea.
of
Yes.
course about financial literacy, then business. And then once we were coming to real estate and buying more and more, in 2024, I started to teach about real estate.
That's
So it just
amazing.
happened because people were asking, and I just tried to help.
You come with the new ideas. Like people just talk randomly and then you're like, but okay, what if I do this? Which is great because some people don't only want to focus on one topic. So it's great that you have the financial literacy and the real estate and everything comes together at the end of the day. And how, if you don't mind me asking, did you come across Spain's program? Did you also come across it on Facebook with the Canadian Revival, or how did you? You
Yeah.
see, that's an amazing thing. That's an amazing thing. So, and
Yeah.
did you join this year, correct?
No, I joined last October or September.
Last October.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's amazing. And like I say, now you guys are working together and even me seeing like you're holding webinars. And by the way, I go and support Marina because that's what all of us are about. Immigrants supporting each other. So they speak Russian in these webinars and I'm just there to look. I do not speak Russian. I speak Afrikaans and English, but it's just about supporting each other, showing up, being there. And she had I think you had over 260 people there supporting you, which
Yeah.
is amazing. A lot of people, we want that. How long would you say, Marina, did it take you to start from scratch until today to build your strong community? And, especially people on Instagram, for instance, I mean, to get 47,000 people to be your followers, it's not easy. What are things that you do daily to, because you are very active. So I think that's something a person should do, stay consistent.
Yes, consistency is the key. So at the beginning, as I said, I just started to share my journeys because
Mhm.
people from my country, my friends from Russia, when we were there, so they would ask like, how did you come to Canada? What did you do to come? Did you have to pass English? Did you do this? Did you have to do this? And I just shared, somebody said, oh, there is a thing, Instagram, called Instagram. You can go there and write down whatever it's your journey. Why do you have to talk to each person separately? You just give them the link to your page and they will read. So I started literally, like, step by step sharing my journey. Okay. One day we decided to come to Canada. First, we did this, then we did this. And I wrote posts. They
Mm-hmm.
were like 2,000 symbols. So
Oh,
that's why
yes.
I divided in pieces. And then people started to comment and then started to ask like more and more and more. And at that time, it was organic. I didn't pay for advertisements or something like that. I didn't think
Yeah.
about making money. It was just sharing my journey. Then somebody asked like, okay, for me, it's not easy to read. Can you do YouTube channel? Because I just want, for me, it will be much easier. And I did a YouTube channel just for them to be more easy. Then people started to ask about like, okay, how did your husband ended up to be a truck driver? How did he
Mm-hmm.
pass exam? How did your son adapt? So I just started to share my life. Then when we bought our house, people started to ask about houses. How did we buy our house? What's the procedure? Then when we did something else, like I would just share my journey, share. And because I was until now, like it's just my personality. I'm a very honest person. I don't pretend to
Yes.
be something else, which I'm not. I had haters who would say like, oh, you better put your makeup on. You look horrible or something. Or like, how old you are? You're like 31. You look like 57. Like this. I always had those things. But
Yes.
at the same time, I had so many people who would say, Marina, you know what? Because of you, I'm now also in Canada. I didn't know about this program. And because you shared your journey, I'm here. So it became
Mm-hmm.
kind of a mission and my, probably like, I remember actually like before even coming to Canada, we were in, there was like a link also like to a forum where people would
Yes.
share how they came to Canada. And I remember there was one person who shared some information how to pass exam, not exam, but like interview,
Mm-hmm.
because I had to pass an interview with the city to choose me. And I remember he was just like, you know what? Let me jump on call with you and I will teach you how to pass the interview. And I'm like, why do you do this? You don't know me. Like, you just don't know me. I'm a stranger person, totally to a stranger person to you. And he's just, I just want to help you. So he helped me and I passed that interview. And I asked him, like, how could I repay you? And he said, pay forward.
Okay.
So for me, it was like, thank you to him. If I could help other people to get much easier than we came, if I could help other people to do less mistakes that we did, and
Mm-hmm.
I know how sometimes you feel lonely with like being in a new country, having nobody here, no family, nothing. And I know how it feels. So for me, it was a thank you to him and my peace, which I could give to other people to support other people. So that's how it all started. Sorry, I didn't need to come to tears,
Don't
but
don't ever say sorry. We are open, Marina. We are open about this. And it just shows how much you care.
yeah.
You truly care. So don't ever be sorry.
So it just was naturally like, if you ask me like what in particular I did, I probably would say I don't know. I was just yeah, consistency, definitely. I remember like first few years. Oh, and then people started to come. My first money, what I made with Instagram, it was advertisement. At that time, it was
Okay.
very popular. Like when you had a few thousand people already, like some people
Mm-hmm.
pay you to promote them. And I was like, oh,
Okay.
I can actually make money from this too. Like I will do the same thing, will share with other people what I'm doing, my life, stuff like this. But at the same time, I can promote other people and they pay me. Wow, I actually can make, why not? Right. So, and then I started to do it all the time. It was helping me too. Yeah. Like somebody to talk to share, it's like, maybe a notebook where you share your thoughts. And
Yes.
probably that's why I'm writing my book now, because I like sharing, I like helping, I like feel this feeling to be helpful. It gives me purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I was just doing this, and we had actually so many arguments with my husband because he was like, "Oh my goodness, Marina, you spend like every day." I didn't have a day off in years from Instagram, years. Like not Sunday, nothing. I would every evening before going to bed, I was writing a post.
Okay.
And then stories became a thing. I started to do stories and it just became a habit even before I started to make money from that. And then I started to sell my resumes, like started
Mm-hmm.
to help people to write resumes. I would do consultations. Then I started to do, like teach them how to pass interviews. That's kind of like, and again, like then of course, because it became my business, I started to like do courses about that, and of course pay for advertisements. So
Mm-hmm.
constantly putting money in as well to grow the community and
Yes.
to help people. Yeah, yeah, I'm not sure. It took me 8 years probably, or 9. I know that
Mm-hmm.
it can take much less if you just do it with the vision. I didn't have a vision. I was just doing because I didn't know how exactly to do. But when you have a vision and you want to help, you just say out loud that I'm here, I want to help, I do this and this and this, and that's how I can help you. And people will keep following you just because you are a person. I know that Ben, for example, he's like, I don't do content. I love doing content.
Yes.
And I feel like people connect to people. We don't buy.
Mm-hmm.
And with Ben, why we're in this community? Not because they teach real estate. No, because there are tons of other companies that teach real estate. Why we're here? Because of people. Because of the way how
Community.
people are in this community. Because of the way how Ben is in the community. Because of the way how he treats us, his students. Because of the way his family treats us as well. Like every time we come to Sunny Skies or something, his family is there as well. His wife, his dad, his mom, and it's a totally different thing. Which again, I do pretty much the same, but I didn't feel for years the same thing for me to somebody to do it for me. So that's
Yeah.
why we're here, and that's why I do my thing, and I know that that's why you are here too.
Oh, no, I love that. That's awesome to hear. And like I say, it's all about community as well. And I know that you are also a coach that if people, become a part of your coaching, you're not just someone who's going to leave them to fend for themselves. Because unfortunately, with a lot of the coaching programs today, you pay so much money and then you just get a digital course or something and you just need to go on your own. Where you and Ben, you're actually there for your students. You communicate, you share the hardships. Because to me, honestly, a lot of the content today, people try and only share the good, which is amazing. It's fine. Share the good. But sometimes other people feel like, oh, what am I doing? Because it's not going that amazing than what it looks like. So behind the scenes, a lot of people don't see the tears, the sacrifices and everything. So a thing I like about you watching your stories, like I said, I screenshot the captions, I go into Chat GPT and I say, just translate this, is you're so open about what's going on, the struggles, because you want to see, it's not a straight path. You get ups and downs. And like I mentioned, you're a mom. You're an amazing mom to Elizabeth and to your son as well. And being a mom, it's not always easy too. There's many moms out there. I was one myself saying, I cannot do this. I have 3 little girls. I don't have, much support. How am I going to do this? What advice would you give those moms to break free from those chains and just go for it?
I remember words like when Sava, my son, was small. I was never with him. Like when we lived in Russia, as I said, I was working 2 jobs. He was
Hmm.
after school. He would come to my office. I worked as at a company which sold windows and doors, so I was launching them, and he would come to the office and stay with me there. Then he would go to my second job. I was washing floors at the church in the evenings. So during the day, I was working in the office, and in the evenings, I was cleaning. And I spent a lot of time like this and working for somebody, making money
Hmm.
to just survive, kind of. So I remember that Sava, he's a very honest and very emotional person. So he would say, like, I miss you. I miss you so much. So, and for me, I'll have to share this part of story as well. Like I had 4 miscarriages before having Elizabeth, and Elizabeth was part of twins. So when I found out that I am pregnant again, and I was going through like treatment to keep babies, so I realized that I don't want to work anymore. Like I cannot risk anymore. So I just left my job, which was, as I said, at the immigrant company, which helped immigrants. So I left it right away, right after I found out that I was pregnant. And I never came back. So because I realized that I want to be part of my child's life,
Yes.
unfortunately, Martin is in heaven. So that's Elizabeth's brother. And now I realize how short is life. How short. How unpredictable it is. How you never know. Today you can be right and having 2 babies in your belly, and tomorrow one baby is gone and you cannot do anything. So like at the same time, I know that somebody will say, okay, then I probably have to be only with my babies instead of just, going to business or do something else.
Mm-hmm.
No, because if you don't live your life, what do you teach your babies then? What do they see too?
True.
It's just the point is that you don't have to forget about yourself and, only work and don't remember about them. So, like, what I would advise, knowing what I know, having my journeys I have, I would say find something you love, which is not only your babies, not them. Because if you find something you love, if you find purpose in your life, it will make you happy and it will make your babies happy. And there are people like me or Ben who will teach you how exactly to start a business or something. I teach in Russian, like also, like how to start a business in Canada. And actually, like I promote this as much as I can because literally if you do your own business and don't work for somebody else, you will make more money eventually if you are doing it and not thinking that this is a hobby, just, thinking
Yeah.
about this as a business. Actually, if you're doing your Instagram, if you start with Instagram, you do it as you were like if it was your paid job, like to run somebody's Instagram page. So you do it for yourself as well, and eventually it will start working. If you do, I don't know, a lot of people baking or something, you do it not when you have a mood or something or motivation, you just do it. And the thing is, when you have your own business, eventually it will give you freedom, it will give you money, it will give you time, it will give you more than you can earn while working somewhere. Why? Because in Canada, if you work for somebody else, you pay much more taxes than the
Yeah.
businesses. No matter
True.
what business you do, you will pay less taxes because you can write off a lot of things, because you can write off even like your house expenses, your, I don't know, like your utilities, which you pay never, you pay anyway. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter what you're doing, but when you work for somebody else, you cannot write it down. So that's how, like,
Yes.
just doing something for yourself, it's one thing, will help you, will help your children, will eventually make you a better mom anyway, just because you will still have more time. Even though, having your own business, running your own business is harder because you are non-stop, employee, not like 8 hours but 24/7. But you still
Yes.
choose, you still work for you, for your family. Your children see how you work for you and for them and for your family, and not for another person, not for another company or something like this. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't probably give like a specific advice or something, but probably my first thing would be like find something what you like and make it a business from this, because there are so many things Canada needs, like a lot of services. There are none of those here mostly. And
Yes.
there are so many good people who can do a lot of things. They have so many skills they can promote here. Like my son, he's 18 years old and he has his own detailing business. He's doing this for a year and a half already. And
That's
again, I
good.
believe that we inspired him. And I know a lot of people ask me, like, doesn't he go to university? No, he doesn't. He started his business, and I'm okay with this because he understands now. And he was working at Canadian Tire lately. Before that, he was working at Tim Hortons, at other things. But he understood that running his own business gives him freedom, much more freedom than when he was working for somebody else, even though the money at the beginning will be pretty much the same or even less.
Mm-hmm.
But it will give purpose, it will give calmness, or how do you call it? Yeah, like something.
Reassurance, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because for us women, I know there are so many people who want to do something, but because they think like, okay, I have children, I have to be with my children. Like you have like 3 girls. I don't.
Yeah.
I have 2 now. And it's hard with 2, but with 3, or like we have a person as Mina in our community who has like 7 children,
Yeah,
right?
she's amazing. I
Yeah.
ain't gonna lie.
Yeah. And at the same time, she's there. Another thing,
Yes.
actually, like what I want to say, I always take Elizabeth with me. Like, Elizabeth is part
Yes.
of all our businesses. When she was like 6 months old, we would take her with us. She would do renovations with us. Now she comes to Sunny Skies with me. When Ben says, okay, guys, now you have to practice, like, let's pretend you have a call with a real estate agent. She's my real estate agent. I practice with her. So why you think that you cannot do something with your child? You can do it. She's always like, right now when I had my event, she was here with
Yes.
me. She was making noise. And I had to say sorry to all those hundreds of people who were online, but this is life. You don't have to
True.
sacrifice your life to be only mom. You can be all together. And at the same time, you don't have to be perfect. It's not like you are a business person only, like, or a good qualitatively business person only when you don't have children, or only when your children are old enough. You can do
Yes.
both. It doesn't have to be that hard. Sometimes we make it harder here.
I agree. 100%. I love what you were saying because to me, now I think I told Heinrich is I think we're going through the hardest part of our lives now because for some reason we decided to take everything on and just do it. You're building a business. And yes, our kids are with us everywhere, everywhere, because you want to try and show them, listen, you can do this. And Kiane, my oldest, she is such a social little sweetheart. I promise you, she can sell anything. She sees me here on the calls and everything, and she's like, oh, Mama, you working? Okay, can I sit here? And she'll sit here as well, do her thing. And Mianka, my youngest, she's always with me as well. So, it's true what you say, Marina. Get them to be a part of everything. Let them be with you because at the end of the day, they do what you do. And if you teach them, listen, you do not have to work for someone and make them rich. Work for yourself, earn that money, and build your own freedom. So, and you know what? I told myself, I'm not going to be that mom where I'm just going to give, give, give. Although, yes, I do give a lot to my children, but I want them to learn how to work hard, not just get what they want whenever they ask. They need to work and then they'll receive. Because as soon as some people who just get it and then, down further in life, then they're like, they don't appreciate it as much than what they would have.
True.
So I think that's definitely something that we can teach our children. It makes 100% sense what you are saying. And I hope it inspires a lot of women, men as well out there, just just to do it. Go for it. Like you see, Marina, she's a immigrant. She started from the bottom and built herself up. Nothing was given to her in life. She literally worked her bum off to get where she is. And we appreciate you, Marina. You and Eon are amazing people. We got the privilege of meeting you guys. And Elizabeth is a beautiful little girl. We haven't met Safa yet, but we will for sure. And just before we go, is there anything else that you'd like that's on your heart that you would like to share to tell people that, you know, whatever it may be, just something for the day that will sit with them and they think about it? You never know. It can maybe change one person's life.
True. I remember Ben's words and I want to kind of relate to them. We as immigrants, we already gave up so much in our life. We gave up our families there. We gave up our language, our culture, our friends, our house, our everything, our streets, everything. And we came to Canada, and a lot of people think that coming here, this is the biggest thing. And this is true. Like, this is a very important, very hard, very powerful step we do, or like tons of steps we do to actually come here. But the thing is that it doesn't end here. It starts here anyway. The
Yes.
point is not to come to Canada, because if we came here, and there are so many people, like when I speak with some people, they're like working tens of years at the same job, low income, not knowing English at the same time. I have like some people who don't speak English until now, and they've been to Canada like 15 years. And that's one thing. When you have this, milestones, like you need to learn English not before, but at the same time while doing something else. But a lot of people have good English already, or coming from countries where like English is like yours. You have an amazing level, and English is not a problem, but the mindset itself keeps us there. Like, okay, we are nobody here. We start from scratch. We start from zero. We have to work hard for tens of years. And then probably our children will feel better. We are doing it for them. And I want people to think that, as you said, like we teach our children. We better teach ourselves than to teach our children, because children will be looking at us and doing what we do. And if we want them to be happy, but we, on the other end, we are struggling, we work our butts on 2 jobs or something, and then come home and don't see anything. We just, like from Monday to Friday, you work. Then on Saturday, you kind of clean your house, you do laundry, you do stuff. On Sunday, you get ready for another week, and life passes. How do we want our children to be happy? They won't. They will learn to be unhappy, to work for somebody else, to build somebody else's business, to listen to somebody else and not listen to themselves. They will not know what it is to be happy, because you didn't teach them, because you could not teach them to be happy because you were not happy. So I want people to think about themselves, that we came here not only for our children, but for ourselves as well. And we need to work our butts to be happy at the first thing, and not for our children to be happy. They will be happy if we are happy. So I want to, as I said, to relate to Ben's words when he said, we already gave up so much. Why do we come to Canada to become average? We could be average in the country. We could be there, an average person living their life, maybe even happier than here, because an average person, I don't know. So if we ended up here going through so many things, being without our families, without our relatives, without our country, without our language, forgetting, or like trying to not forget, but still it's hard to not forget everything what was there. Why do we accept to become an average person here? We are much more stronger, because we already did so much more. And yes, a lot of people are taught to work hard. They don't work smart, because we are so busy working hard. We don't think that we can actually do it easy a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah. So I really want to say that, please try to be happy. Try to think what makes you happy. Why exactly you came to Canada? What do you want for yourself and not for your children? Find something which correlates to your values, which brings you joy. Around that thing, you can become happy and make other people to be happy, because you will find a purpose, and let that purpose be not only your children.
Yes.
And I think this way you will become financially free. You will have a business, another thing in life which will bring you joy. Your children will be happy, and they will see that their mom actually was happy too, and not just worked. Our children, yeah, definitely, they won't remember all the toys we bought them. They will remember time with them. And I love that you bring your children with you to the calls, because they are being part of your calls, being part of your lives. And it doesn't matter when you say, like, I don't spend as much time with them as I could or something. But if you went back to your normal job, let's say normal job, you wouldn't spend as much time with them anyway. You would work as an agent. They would be at the daycare. And now Mianka is with you, right? She's with you here. She needs your hugs. She doesn't need something else. She doesn't need her mom to be like 24/7 with her, but she needs her mom to just be with her, right? So
Mm-hmm.
when you build business with them, when they are part of your business, when they grow up, I think they will remember this. They will know that, oh my gosh, when I was a child, when I was so tiny, my mom used to bring me to these calls. She would always do this and this, and I would sit on her laps. And isn't this amazing? I think that is amazing. She's part of your life. They are learning. And I believe, like, if they are now here, can you imagine like what will be, how their mind will be free from biases we ended up having, because
Mm-hmm.
our parents taught us to work hard, and they worked hard. My mom was, as I said, like, she was a nurse when back in Moldova. Then when I was 15, she went to Spain for 7 years. I don't remember moments with her. Nothing, nothing. We had then money when she went to Spain. We had money, but I didn't have her in her life at all, in my life at all. So, but when she was a nurse, I remember when sometimes she would take me to her work in the hospital, and I would put this white, thing, and
Yeah.
give people pills they needed to take. And I felt so special. That's what I remember. Not the time when she spent playing with me, just be part of her life. So I think that's what I want to leave today at the table, kind of. You don't have to be ideal mom, because nobody is ideal. As we said at the beginning, it's just life. If we have ideal life, it's probably death. It's probably
Mm-hmm.
already there. It's not here. There is no one perfect. There is nothing like ideal. We just need to do what we can in the moment where we are. Just do what you can. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to. I think we are perfect moms for our children, even in the worst moments of our lives, when we think that we are not perfect. As long as we just, are there for them, and at the same time pay attention on ourselves, for ourselves, and try to remember that we used to be children as well. And, sometimes we just need to be for ourselves there, because I bet a lot of people, immigrants, they didn't have a very happy childhood, or like parents would be not always with them. Does it help to just think about this? No. Does it help
Mm-hmm.
if we just blame our parents? No. Does it help if we just want to be better and better and better? No, nothing helps. We just can be and do what we can. And just remember that if I built, actually, like, if we talk about business, I started to build my business when my son passed away, right? From the hospital, when he was even alive at that time. He was fighting, he was going through surgeries and building business at that time, because Elizabeth was in Winnipeg and I was with Martin in Edmonton. I didn't see Elizabeth for a month and almost a half. And I was with Martin. I couldn't help him. So I needed my mind to do something. I needed to do something. At that
Mm-hmm.
time, I was actually knitting toys and selling toys.
Okay.
Yeah. So I started, and then when Martin passed away, that's how I actually started to actually build business more and more and more. And I think that it helped me in a way. I helped other people, and it helped me to heal as well. So yeah, I think only we stop ourselves. Nobody else can stop us. Only we stop here.
No, thank you for that, Marina. It all makes sense, and it's something I believe that a lot of people want to hear. Don't be perfect. Just be there, do your best, and get something you enjoy.
Yeah.
Because if you're not happy, no one's gonna be happy.
Yeah.
So you should make yourself happy first, and then it will just follow.
Yeah.
And thank you for sharing. I know about Martin and things like that. Thank you for sharing that, because I know there's a lot of mamas out there that went through the same. And I think your story will really help some of them. And what you've been through, it's just so inspiring. And I really appreciate you being here today. And I want to ask you, before we go, I am going to post your Instagram handle with the description of this episode. So, guys, if you can go and give Marina a follow, she has amazing content. It is in Russian, but you can still go ahead and just support and see what she's doing. I think this was an amazing, amazing episode. We appreciate you, Marina. Keep on doing what you are doing. And we will definitely be in touch soon. And we are just excited to see how you expand further on.
Thank you so much. And again, thank you for inviting me here. I'm very, very grateful. And as I said at the beginning, if I helped one person to
Yes.
think at least a little different, this is already worth it. So keep doing what you are doing, sharing your story, sharing your journey, because your journey is amazing. I know. I'm not sure how much you already shared here, but I know that you will share eventually more and more of your journey as well.
Yes.
You are a perfect mom. You are a perfect woman. You are such a support. I said to you many times, and I want to say again, like how many hours you spend like being just part. Like, for example, the day before yesterday when we had this event and it was like for 5 hours or something, and being part of the event, which you don't even understand, and everything is in a different language, but you come there and I see your face, I see your name there, and I see your comments there. And this is so important. I'm not that person who thinks, like I am, a great teacher, a great coach. I'm very not confident all the time about myself, about everything else. And it gives confidence when you have this support. So your support gives me a lot of confidence and helps me to be there for my people as well. So I hope your podcast will become very, very popular. Will help, and I know that it will help a lot of people. It will start from a few, and then it will be more and more and more, because people need people and women need
Yes.
women. So I hope that in a year I'll come to this podcast and it will be a very popular, very famous podcast in Canada. And I know that you will have so many followers who you changed their life. I wish you all the best with the podcast and with your real estate journey. You are doing amazing job. Amazing. I couldn't do in years what you've done, what you've accomplished in half a year. I know as well that sometimes you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm doing like a lot of things and nothing at the same time. You are doing amazing. These are not just words, believe me. I'm not that person who just throw words just because to be nice. I really admire you. I really am glad that I met you. I really am proud of you. You are doing such an amazing job for you, your family, your community.
This is gonna, you guys, we are just very open here, and I appreciate that. Sometimes a person needs to hear that because people struggle, and it's just about being there for each other. And I'm so blessed that I got to meet you too. Yes, we don't feel perfect. We feel like we make so many mistakes. But then we're just there for each other and we say, no, what you're doing is amazing. And I feel the same about you. The little time I've gotten to know you, I love you so much. And I hope that we can walk this journey together. I look up to you as well. You're an amazing woman. I keep on telling Ben and everyone, I aspire to be like Marina, what she's doing. She's doing so many amazing things. So thank you for showing the way, paving the way for us that want to be there where you currently are. And know you are loved. You're an amazing woman and you're amazing at what you're doing. And you're an amazing mom and wife and everything. So we love you so, so much, Marina. And I know this is going to help so many people. We support you wherever we can. Okay. Never ever feel like you're alone. Some of us are just a phone call away.
Thank,
So thank you for being yourself and being here. We appreciate it so much more than you can know.
thank you also. Thank you. Thank you for inviting and thank you for picking this journey.
No worries. Well, like I said, my husband brought it to me, it picked me, and here I am. So we're gonna make it work. But I love it so far, and the people I've met are just amazing. Sometimes a journey started because it's bringing you closer to the people you need to be with.
True. Yeah. Yeah. I
So
believe actually in this more than in the result.
yes.
I think the journey sometimes is more important than the result because the journey itself makes the result possible. Yeah.
That is so true. Thank you, Marina. I appreciate you. And to everyone out there, we are transparent here. We share what we need to share and hoping it will help one of you. And until next time, remember, you do not need to ask permission because you hold the keys, you guys. Have a wonderful day. Talk soon.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye bye.
She's rising, yeah, she